Have a plan in place for whatever happens. Otherwise, others may, and it might not be the plan that you wanted or your will that is expressed.
All right. We're going to be talking about estate planning. It's not just about who gets what, it's about making sure the right people can step in, make decisions, and protect your legacy when you can't.
And it's making sure the right tools are in place, like wills, trust, beneficiaries, durable power of attorney, are all set up so that they work the way you thought they should, and they will. How's that sound, Marcus?
Excellent. We want to welcome everybody back to the CD Financial Podcast, CD Financial, where health meets wealth. I'm Marcus C., your host, and man across from me is Chuck D. Chuck, great topic today. Before we get into that, my brother, how are you doing?
I'm swinging, man. I'm swinging. I'm
Excellent.
still swinging. Every day, get up and swing, right? Nothing beats a failure but a try. What's
I
the
love that.
expression? Yeah, to bat 300, you gotta get out 7 out of 10 times.
Good call, right? Yeah, 70% failure rate gets you into the Hall of Fame if you're a baseball player.
How about that, right? Yeah. So you gotta put one foot in front of the other. You gotta take that first step. If you're waiting on something, but your gut tells you, I want to do this. I've always wanted to do it. This podcast is something I always wanted to do with Marcus. I knew I could, but I had to get one foot in front of the other, and you keep going. So, right, I enjoy spending time with you, and I enjoy uh, others getting to benefit from some of the exchange here. So
Yeah.
killer. In fact, yesterday I went to charge up my Tesla during lunch, and I
Uh-huh.
went and got a lamb burger because I'm on this really restrictive diet. So no beef, no pork, no corn,
Uh,
no sugar. It's like no fun. No, but this no, yeah. Did I say wheat? I,
yeah.
I I didn't. I think I said no beef, no
You said no
pork,
beef, no pork, no corn. So,
no sugar, no wheat, no dairy. Well, no cow dairy, but I've been eating a lot of manchego and stuff like that. And what Pecorino Romano is sheep's milk, so instead of Parmesan, I use that. Anyway, um, I'm eating this place has a lamb burger. I knew about it. It was three or 4 minute walk from the Tesla Charger downtown San Juan. Awesome, and the side salad was like whoa. And there was the World Series of Little League. I was watching these kids, right? Yeah, got to keep swinging, man. Got to keep swinging. Don't
uh,
stop swinging.
I,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. So, okay. I'm, I don't know. Pork and beef are like the base of my food pyramid. So it's not even a pyramid. It's more like an oval, right? And most of it is pork and beef. Corn I can do without, other than corn squeezins, if you get my drift. Sugar, I don't eat much sugar anyway. I'm all good with all that. But man, I live in Texas, brother. But no beef is going to be a tough one for me. That's a tough sell.
Listen, when they said it to me, it actually was no citrus too, but I got them to clear me for lemon. And I said, because I use lemon all the time.
I do
And I
too.
was like, no beef? Right? I started craving corn too recently. Like it's been 2 months of this, but the no beef was like, what? Next time going in, I'm gonna ask him in like 2 weeks. I'm gonna say, dude, I need to get beef cleared here. But I think it's because the cattle they feed them with corn and all the other stuff that's GMO'd. All right.
Yeah, nothing's too clean anymore. Let's get into it, my brother. Estate planning. Let's get into that.
Many people think that a will is enough. Many people think that. But uh, here's the funny thing: beneficiaries that you name on different accounts, a
Hmm.
pod at the bank, a pod stands for payable on death.
Right.
A TOD, that's like in a trading account, that's transfer on death. So if I had a trading account or a bank account, maybe it's jointly named for my wife and I, but what if it's just named in my name? If the transfer on death, if I name the beneficiary as my spouse, but in the will, maybe you wanted it to go to your grandkids or I don't know, your best friend or your sister, or your brother, your mom. Anytime you name a beneficiary, it kind of goes whoop and it goes directly to them and it says, see you will,
Hmm.
see you trust. None of that matters here because, especially like with a 401k,
Yeah.
TSP, IRA, Roth, 403b, 457, my SEP IRA, they they all bypass a trust or a will completely. If you don't, if you don't name, for instance, if you don't name the trust, then
Mhm.
as the beneficiary, then whoever you named is going to be the beneficiary.
Hmm.
How about that?
That's interesting. I'm glad we brought this point up because honestly, I think my mindset would reflect what many people believe, like which you started with, right? Many people believe a will is enough. I think I've gone through most of my life believing that. I just thought that once you have the will done, the will is it, and there's nothing more to it.
Yeah, no. Yeah, if you gotta change the beneficiaries. Um, if your will says it, but that's not the same as your beneficiaries being named. Um, they and we'll talk about the trust too and how that works, which is separate from a will entirely. A
Yeah,
will tells folks what your will is. A
right,
trust may not name everything, whereas your will might say, "Hey, my diamond earrings and my gold bracelets, I want them to go to my granddaughter or something, or my
right.
daughters, or right, or whoever, my niece." And you might not name that in the trust. So get specific with everything if you do form a trust. And
Okay.
with your will and trust, if you don't change that on your account forms, then whatever it says, that's what's going to happen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's good. Good to know. Good information right there.
Yeah. So without a financial medical power of attorney like
Mm-hmm.
a DPA, what, durable power of attorney, Marcus?
Durable power of attorney, correct.
Yeah, you could have an accident and it could leave your finances and your health care decisions in limbo.
Right.
So I think back to my dad when a he had a stroke when I was like, I want to say I was like 12 or 13. He was a pretty young
Wow.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, in his, I want to say he was in his 40s. And so he was, he's paralyzed on his left side, but you knew him well. He was very conversational, right? He just used a cane, right?
Yep.
And that was before physical therapy was around and it was just getting started, like being invented at the time.
Right.
But then dad, years later, when he was 60, he had another stroke, and this one just wiped him out, put him in a wheelchair. I often wonder, not often, but with this subject, if his will was to actually keep going. Because sometimes he'd fight with my mom, and he wasn't in any shape to be fighting. But I think he wanted to be left alone because he'd had enough. And if
Yeah.
he'd have had that charted out and written down, even if your spouse wants you around, you could at least indicate that maybe not so much, right?
Yep.
Then your will is honored. Although he could talk a little bit, he would muster up the breath, and then he would say, I remember one of the last things I remember him telling me is Charlie, and he had to muster up the breath. He said, Charlie, look after those boys and that wife and serve your God. And that's it. That's all he said. And he went quiet again because it just was a lot for him to tell me that. That's what he said. It was before Sophia was even around. So it was 18 or more years ago. It was probably 20 years ago. He's been gone a while. So, yeah. So, you need to have that durable power of attorney. We can get into the weeds about that too, Mark. Um, your home and even your, especially maybe non primary residence,
Mm-hmm.
right? Or commercial properties, rentals that you may
Right.
possess and own. You don't want that tied up in probate, do you? Where
No.
nobody can really take possession, and it gets more or less, like temporarily controlled or seized by the courts. That's very inconvenient, right? And then,
Absolutely.
yeah, what if you have an underage kid, right? Like I got a 17-year-old. Jude, he's not. I mean, he's in his 20s and he's really careful with his money. But what if one of your kids is not? And they get a bunch of money and they are not good at handling it. Then he's,
As many minors can be, right? They're not really good with money.
no, some are and some aren't. I never spent my money, but you know what? They might need help in investing the money too, right?
True. True.
And
True.
and you
Especially
could
big sum.
yeah, if you had documents in place, right, and you
Yep.
had a trust in place and an executor, maybe they can name a fiduciary that you'd recommend your child work with that could help them, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, me being a fiduciary, that's important, right?
Yeah.
Have somebody trusted, yeah, that can help your loved ones. Um, yeah, it could really help, right? Now, in my case, Marcus, with Isaac being
Mhm.
special needs, there needs to be a special needs trust in place.
Yeah.
Because if he do you know why?
I want you to expound on that because you and I are in very similar situations because I have a sister with special needs that at some point we're going to have to discuss this as a family. So go ahead.
Sooner than later, Marcus, in your
Yeah.
case, because
Yep.
your folks are right. I mean, it's Ange and I in line for us, but in your case, it's your folks.
Yep.
Um, if 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 somebody that's special needs is on, if they get state and federal assistance,
Mm-hmm.
and they inherit a sum of money, that assistance, for instance, what is it called in Medi-Cal, that might go away for Isaac. Or
Hmm.
if he's getting Social Security disability check, it's not a lot, but that could also go away, right? And plenty of us pay enough taxes. God knows I pay a fortune. Sometimes I wonder why I work so hard because it's like, wait a minute, I'm working for me and the man and the man, like, let's say that's the bear of California and then Uncle Sam.
Yeah.
So that's there's a three of us, right? Yeah. So special needs trust will prevent that from happening. So their checks won't get killed, and their health insurance that might be low cost or no cost won't get killed because they are special needs, but they've inherited a large sum of money. It doesn't have to be a large sum of money, Marcus. It's very modest amount of money will kill their benefits, both state and federal. So that you might need an attorney for. I'm going to say that right now. Oh, and by the way, folks, neither Marcus nor I are estate planning attorneys or attorneys, and we
Yeah.
don't make that claim. I want to be clear about that when we're talking about estate planning.
And we do have a state planning attorney that we actually have been working with, but I don't know that we've ever discussed that specific point, right? Special needs beneficiaries, because my sister does receive help, right? She does get the Social Security amongst other benefits. So yeah, that's something that it probably is taken care of, but it's always good to check. I mean, this is why we bring these things up, right? Because I think for a lot of us, there's a lot of probablys that we kind of have in the back of our head. It's like, yeah, it's there, it's taken care of more than likely, but you want to make sure that you dot your I's and cross your T's, as it were, with all this stuff. Yeah. All right. So I got a couple of questions. Are you ready?
Sure.
All right. So first off, getting a little more into this, can you explain why naming a beneficiary on something like a TSP actually bypasses the will entirely? You kind of touched on it earlier, but maybe we dive in a little bit deeper in that.
Yeah, 401k is the same thing. IRAs, Ross, whoever you've named as the beneficiary is going to get that money. It's not another document. If that document is not named in your account,
Yeah.
okay. So whatever the account says. Same thing, by the way, with life insurance. We've seen plenty of mistakes with like group life insurance at work, like FEGLI, Federal Employees Group Life Insurance, or any life insurance policy. You forget to update, you go through divorce, uh, you're gone now, and guess what? You never updated your beneficiaries, and the ex gets the life insurance. So in either case, what we're talking about is you could form a trust,
Yeah.
but they call it in the legal world funding the trust. What that means is now you go through all your accounts,
Mm-hmm.
and now you change the beneficiary to the, let's say, Charles and Angela Jama Family Trust, right? Dated, I don't know, January 5th of 2022. And then when you do pass away, either one of you, it's going to follow the trust. You've now funded the trust. Life insurance is too. You say,
Yep.
well, why does that matter? Well, what if your kids have uh, have grandkids, right? Well, they don't have grandkids, but what if they have kids? Now you have grandkids. You might want money to go to them. Maybe one of your grandkids isn't suitable to inherit money. Maybe one of your kids is not good with money, or they have substance abuse problems, or just problems in general.
Yeah.
This I hear a lot, Marcus. You ready for this?
Give it to me.
What if your son passes away and your daughter-in-law remarries?
Hmm.
Right? And then or what if your daughter passes away and your son-in-law remarries?
Yeah.
And now it goes into a new family tree, and you may not want that. So your trust can designate and can go down the line and is it delineate? Is that what it is?
Delineate sounds correct for what you're
Yeah.
saying. Yeah.
Where you want it to go and how you want it to act. A
Right.
trust does this. So let's say a new grandchild's born. Instead of changing every account you have, if the trust is formed, you make an amendment to the trust. And
Hmm.
once you do that, guess what? All your accounts are affected. Your
Okay.
It could be your primary home, could be rentals, could be a 401k, TSP, IRAs, Roth IRAs, could be savings account, could be a stock trading account, could be commercial property or business. Once you change the trust, it could just in one in one fell swoop, you take care of all of it.
Right. Right. Man, a lot of good points there. A lot we can get it. Sometimes we get into these questions, and I sit there as you're answering, as you're talking about. I'm like, well, those are two or three other podcasts right there. Maybe we put a pin in them and look back at them at some point because I think we could deep dive. But a lot of things there that you touched on, you know, again, I think in the mind of most people, if you have a will, it's settled, right? It's like, okay, that's all done. I don't need to worry about naming beneficiaries or anything like that. But as you present it in that response, there's a lot of things that maybe you don't think about: the death of a daughter, the death of a son, the remarrying of a son-in-law or daughter-in-law. Those are things that a lot of times we don't want to talk about because death is involved. But I mean, you really need to pay attention to that stuff. Again, it's going back to dotting your I's and crossing your T's, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let me
Yes.
ask you a second question. What's the danger of not having a medical directive? Either so we talked about a DPA, right? A medical directive, a DPA, or a POA in place, power of attorney in place. What's the danger of not having those things?
Yeah. So the medical directive follows your wishes, but the DPA, the durable power of attorney, makes effective who you want to carry out your wishes,
Yeah.
even if you're incapacitated. So maybe you're in a coma and your wishes are, I don't want to be in a coma for more than, say, 3 months. If it goes beyond that, that my wishes are right, just go ahead and stop it. Now, some people come out of it after that, but right, if you're, but maybe you're on machines and you don't want to be on machines, and you
Yeah.
say, you know what, if I'm on a machine, I'm good, right?
Yeah.
Then those kind of wishes, if you have it in place, then the person who's the executor can say, listen, these are their wishes,
Yeah.
right? So this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to carry out. Yeah.
And I'll just add an observation to that because I've seen what happens with families when there isn't something there or even clear direction. There it creates a mess because when a person is really sick, terminally ill, or dies, family in general is not. They're typically not in a mental space to make good decisions. They're very emotionally driven at that time. So you may even want to think about the person on your DPA or your POA being someone who will respect your decisions, but a non-relative. I mean, that might be something that you need to consider going forward, because again, it's hard. You can't expect family to always make great decisions with the stress of a sick, terminally ill someone or a death in the family. So those are important things to consider too. Who you put on that DPA or who you put on that power of attorney. So good
Yes.
stuff.
That's a really astute observation, Marcus.
Yeah.
If it's a family member, it could uh, muck the waters with the
Yep.
emotions. Yeah,
Yeah. And emotions are real, folks. We're humans. We have them,
we
whether we
got
like
them.
it or not. They are. All right. So one other question then: when does it make sense to bring in a trust?
I would think at least if you've got more than one property,
Okay.
it makes a whole lot of sense
Yeah.
to bring in a trust. Uh, Here in California, they make it pretty convenient um, if you just have a primary dwelling to transfer assets to your next generation, and with a step up cost basis too. And they make it pretty easy. I can't speak to every other state. Some of them are difficult. I happen to know I think that Massachusetts it's really rough. So everybody kind of wants to get a. From what I've been, from what I've heard, they're encouraged to get a trust just for transfer of the primary home. So there's multiple kids, and we've talked about if you have a child who's special needs, you might need a specific special needs trust. Um, some of the things you want to do is review all your beneficiaries in every one of your accounts, both your financial and medical POAs.
Yeah.
Put those in place before they're needed. Before they're needed.
Yeah.
Um, and if you want to avoid probate on your property, you may have to do this, depending on the state you live in, to get a trust. And if you have minors in the home, and you both pass away. I know the likelihood of both parents being gone is slim to nil. But if that ever did happen, then your minors they could be put in a place that wasn't fair to them because they're just not equipped maybe to handle any large infusion of money. Um, yeah, that's what I would say, Marcus.
Okay. So let me just ask, go back to one thing you mentioned: reviewing beneficiary designations. How often should you do that? Because I imagine that's not a one and done, right? You don't want to do it once in your life and be.
If life changing events they talk. I mean, people say annually. I think once you get it dialed in,
Yeah.
you'll be okay. But if a child's born, child passes away, a divorce happens, life changing events, then you definitely want to review
Yeah.
anytime, right? It's a marriage, it's a birth, it's a it's a divorce, right? It's maybe even a moving to another home or life changing events. That's when you should be for sure revisiting your beneficiaries.
Right. If you're not already doing it annually or regularly, whatever it is. Fantastic. Okay. So then, Chuck, kind of putting this all together, what's one action someone listening right now could take this week to make their estate plan stronger?
If you've got a trust, make sure that you name the trust as the beneficiary. I know it sounds weird, but it's called funding the trust. You have to go back and because I've met all sorts of families that have a trust, but it's never named anybody. Or
Hmm.
I'm sorry, they've never used the trust as that beneficiary that should be named. So they never really funded the trust. Works for life insurances and all your money accounts where you name the trust as your beneficiary. I'm not saying you put the trust as the owner of the account. I'm saying the beneficiary can be the trust.
Okay. Good stuff. All right. So now you alluded to it earlier. Neither one of us is attorneys, right? We're not lawyers. You didn't get your law degree recently.
I did not.
Okay, neither did I. Just to keep everybody up to date. So, how do you balance then doing some of this stuff yourself, or when is it time that you need to hire an attorney?
Okay, so special needs trust, you might have to hire an attorney.
Okay.
Um, if you're moving straight forward,
Yep.
there are financial advisory firms and fiduciaries, our firm as well. They may have access to software that can accomplish this task, like DPA and like wills and trusts,
Yep.
at possibly at a rate that's not near as steep as an attorney.
Right.
Might be for a savings, and when you go to amend the trust, it might be for a fraction of what it would cost when an attorney wants to amend the trust because they just love when you have more ideas and you want to make changes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's good money, man. Good
Yeah.
money there.
So you don't have to do this alone. We're here to help.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't forget that, right? Yeah. So Marcus, you got a health tip for us?
I got a great health tip. Well, I believe it's a great health tip. It's a mental health tip, and it goes back to something that we were actually talking about this at the start of the show, right? Failure is part of life, and we talked about you can get into the Hall of Fame as a baseball player, failing 70% of the time at the plate, right? If you're a 300 hitter, man, that's good for the career. So my health tip is this: since we all fail, we really need to pay attention to that little voice inside our head that talks to us, because oftentimes if we allow that little voice to start talking negatively, it can snowball and really lead us to a bad place. So when I talk about failure in the sense of maybe you've missed a couple weeks of being at the gym, Maybe you had a long week away somewhere on a vacation or a long weekend, and you just went to town on all this food that you know you shouldn't have. It's real easy to just kind of let that snowball and go, man, well, I'm a failure. I could just, you know what, forget it. I'm just going to go back to eating donuts for breakfast and burgers and fries for lunch because what does it matter, right? And it's happened. I mean, if you've ever struggled with weight for a lot of people or just health issues, it's real easy to fall back into that, to have that negative talk just keep you down. Listen, not it's not about getting knocked down. It's not about failure. It's about continuing to put in the work. Yes, yes, all those great sluggers in the big leagues struck out, all of them, uh, but they all got back up to the plate and took another swing at it. And that's what I'm trying to tell you here. Don't let that negative voice in your head get you down to where you don't even want to go back to the plate. Keep swinging. You will get those hits. You will get better. Things will work in your favor, but you gotta let that voice speak positively. What do you think
Yeah.
about that?
I love it because home run hitters, don't they strike out a lot?
They do.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
because they're looking for the big hit, but then they get them, right? And
Yep.
then people love it. Boy, I saw that little league game. There was a grand slam hit. I was like, oh my, it was a grand slam too. And he just chucked it, man. It was like a golf. Boom. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh,
Yeah.
I'll,
So
I'll just add to that real quick because I'm glad you brought up the baseball thing. That wasn't planned, by the way, for anybody tuning in right now. We didn't plan to use that as a metaphor, but it just worked out with this health tip. But one of my favorite commercials of all time, you'll remember this. You're of the age that does. Michael Jordan used to have this Nike commercial where he talked about all the shots that he missed, right? That was a big thing. I don't even remember the number, some ridiculous number of shots he missed. But we don't remember that about Michael Jordan, right? We remember that shot over Craig Elo. We remember that shot over against Utah, right? Those game winning shots. We remember the success that he had, not all those failures along the way.
right, they call Lakers shots.
Yeah.
Um, who was that coach? I could see him now. Coach K, is it?
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Coach.
and yeah, I don't remember. It was Levon that said, "Hey, can you stop Kobe from taking those shots?" And they called them Laker shots. But you don't remember Kobe for taking a bunch of frivolous shots. You
No.
remember him for being an amazing player, right?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
All right, man. Well, thank you, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Great stuff today with estate planning. Again, get someone on your side and do it regularly. Make sure all your T's are crossed and your I's are dotted. And we love to be a part of that if you allow us to. So there is a link below and a number. If you want to send us a text with your name and your email and your phone number, we'll get back to you. Chuck, you want to give us that number real quick?
Sure. It's 949-359-5100, 359-5100. Just text your name and your email. And we know you're looking for a 15-minute phone call. We see them constantly,
Yeah.
those texts. So we'll just come back and give you a couple time slots.
Beautiful stuff. We look forward to working with y'all. Until then, we thank you for tuning in. This is the CD Financial Podcast, CD Financial, where health meets wealth. I'm Marcus. Thank you for your time. That is Chuck. Thanks, my brother. We appreciate all you do.
You're welcome. Don't forget, folks, you don't need to work longer. You just need a better plan. Talk to you soon. Bye bye now.